growing and expanding, opening the consciousness and the capacity to engage our thought processes. That's what we're doing. Opening up the capacity to think. Because it is the ultimate power, our thinking power. It's the ones that shut down, we become robots. So we're trying to energize the thought process, energize the I, link up the I with the solar center, that we understand ourselves cosmically. So there's a cosmos. There is the cosmos. We have our cosmology. But it has been much obliterated and almost literally destroyed, that we don't even understand the meaning of the word. We get stuck on the word astrology and get into belief systems. We have to move forward to the highest level, which is the cosmology. That we can begin to operate with cosmic forces now and really move mountains that are in the mental mind, move mental things. No, we're into the identity issue. And I am very serious now about this whole notion and concept of a human. What is this concept of a human? Because I am very concerned that black people, after being convinced through education systems and religious systems that everybody is human being, and we all come from a thing called the human race. Now when we read biblical history, biblical literature, we find our genesis in that book. And we get our identity construct out of that book. I want to know now, who are really the humans? Who are human beings? What is a human? Because the way black people have been treated makes me question and maybe come to the conclusion in a very oblique way that we are not humans. So if I start from the position that black people are not humans, then I must ask myself, then what are we? What are we if we are not humans? And if we are not humans, who really then are the humans? So the whole human being thing now, I have to begin to go into the analysis of thinking critically about my identity. Do I call myself a human? Now, Charles Darwin, one of the greatest European scientists, through his own research and anthropological, ramblings and so forth, comes up with the notion that human beings really evolved from the primates. Primates really is a monkey family. And that human beings have a connection to the animal kingdom. And that human beings are the highest form of the evolved animal. This is what we have been told, and this is what we have been taught. And so the human being, we are then told, is the representation of the Creator. And that the human being is who or whatever it is. Now, as a black man who traveling through this land and see how I have been dealt with, when I reflect on the Africans who were brought into this hemisphere, in the North American context, the Caucasian, who is the protagonist, who is the owner of this slavery system, tells the black man that he is not human. He tells the black man that he is 2/3 of a human. And the importance of Christianity is to make him fully human. Now, we rejected that, as black people, because we were embracing the notion that we were fully human. But you see, if it's from the position that we are not, then if we are classified as 2/3 human, I search now for the other third. What is the other third of us? And in my own research, I recognize that the other third is a divine third. That we were really divine beings, man, created through the power of the word. And in this divinity, we seem to have lost 2/3 of our divinity. And we have descended to the level of the human. So what I think we need to think about is, how do we redefine ourselves? How do we re-examine what it is now to be human? Because human carries with it certain characteristics like jealousy, anger, wrath, grudgefulness. These are characteristics attached to the human. Black people, it is time we reject this notion of being humans and recognize ourselves as a divinity called man. Yeah, we're not human. Black people, we are divine. So the African has been transformed into a human. Yeah, look at that. The African in his anciency never even knew that word. African spoke about man and he spoke about gods and goddesses. So this whole concept of a human is something that has been posed upon us. So when the Africans were brought into this hemisphere now, they were now being classified as humans. And we have to ask ourselves consistently, is that this concept of a human being takes away our African identity. Because now we are being submerged under this thing called a human race. And so Africans who are, what makes them African is not because they're necessarily from the continent, you know. When we get into the real identity issue now, it is the melanin in the skin that gives the identity to the man. The land is Africa. So we'll go beyond the land identity, the national identity. We get into the racial identity. And so the man is melanin. And so it is the melanin people. It is the melanin man that must recognize through the consciousness of himself, yeah, that the powers, the sound, this cosmology must be generated from his own perspective. And so the identity we have to recognize is our blackness. The real identity is our blackness. And our blackness is grounded in our melanin. And there's a point I want to make about melanin. Because melanin is not just coloring, you know. It's within the melanin, there's a nervous system. We're going to speak about this system now because they don't teach us this at the university. in the melanin system, there are some nerves. Matter of fact, these nerves were discovered by an Italian called Malpighi. And so what he did was call this layer of nerve the Malpighian layer. Malpighian. The Malpighian layer. And in this layer of the skin, where we find the epidermis, there are some cells that form a nervous system. And this nervous system is energized not by blood, but by solar energy. So it's when we begin to recognize what it is that makes us black, Africa now becomes a national identity. Because the black man is everywhere through the globe. So we have to recognize identity. Yes, Africa is a homeland, but the identity of the black people on that land is what holds them together. And so once we let go of our blackness, we have given up our identities. And once we give up that identity, which is racial, the other level of identity, which is already under attack, which is the sexual identity, it too will crumble. So what I am saying now is that when we talk about identity and its connection to liberation, we say that there are three pillars to our identity. There is a sexual identity, there is a racial identity, and there's the identity of the spirit. And if we have a disturbance at the spirit level, then the being will be disturbed totally. If we have a disturbance at the sexual level, right now we have people who cannot define their sexualities. And we're being bombarded by the same-sex culture. So once we begin to struggle with our racial identities and our sexual identities, we basically can't find ourselves again, you know. It's a total loss. So we have to reconfigure ourselves. We have to reconnect ourselves. We have to see the power of being racially identified. And the racial identity defines us as black people. No common B. Black people with a capital B. The small b tends to describe a condition. Yeah, the man is in a black condition or situation black. It describes a condition. What is the capital B? We're talking about the identity of a people. So we have to resurrect the blackness as our identity. We have to resurrect the whole notion of the Ankh. To symbolize the male and the female. That we can reject this intrusion on our African consciousness. So, MetaMorphOsis, we're exploring whether African people, black people, are really humans. Because again, you know, scripture talk about when the gods mated with the daughters of men. And those gods could simply represent the melanin people. And the daughters of men, daughters of human. And you know, when you look at the word human, when you pluralize human, you know, you're supposed to get human. But no. When you pluralize human, you get humans. Yeah, but man and men is plural and woman is plural. We have to go into it carefully, re-examine this construct of a human being. Do we really see ourselves emerging from the primates? Yeah, are we really descendants of monkeys, black people? Yeah, and we really hold on to that? Who is it that grows here in their hand middle? Oh boy. Serious.
best they feel. Even the way the innocent man goes down, it is to Jah find a bright light, moving the barrier.
When we're speaking about the identity of self, and we go back into the cosmologies, or forward into cosmology, we have been locked into this notion of the Father. Yeah, Father God. And his Father. And we're always calling upon the Father. Where is the Mother in our calling? African people cannot exist without the Mother. So the Mother must be in the cosmology. The female must be a part of the construction and our perception of this whole universe. Female must be complementary to the male. But in the teachings of being humans, the human male is projected as a dominant, and the human male rules over the human female, and she becomes a servant, a helpmeet, according to the literature. So when I view myself as divinities, then the female automatically becomes divine. And so the relationship at the ground level generates more respect. So the thing is not just airy and philosophical, there's a practical side to it. It's a come together of the gender, because there is no harmony unless the race is one at the gender level. So constantly speaking about the importance of the female and the male, and the unification of the brain, which is both male and female. It is part of the identity. And you know, ultimately, you have to ask yourself a question. Because when we talk about the father and the mother, we seem to be convinced that there is a creator. Now this argument means touch on a lot of corns. But corns are sometimes good thing to put in your soup. Is there a creator? Is there a creator? When we talk about cosmology now, do we accept that there is a creator of the cosmos? And where does this creator exist within time and space? And then why should this creator have any specific feelings or responsibility to these beings on this planet? Yeah, we have to check it out, you know. We have to free up our consciousness. The notion of a creator. Why do we need a creator? Why cannot things have always been in existence? And who would have created the creator? Yeah. The mind is the creator. The mind is the destroyer. Metamorphosis. at things within conceptual definitions in this I word sound and power segment. And as we continue to look into the notion of identity, there is a problem closer to home, right here in this rock, where we have some people who we defined as maroons, and we're giving them that as their identity. And in that notion, there are really no such people called maroons, because maroon is really a condition. The people are melanin people, they are black people, they are African people. But the education system that encourages us to divide and separate ourselves has us seeing the maroons as a sort of distinct race of people. Why them is maroons. So a description of a people in a condition, because you can be maroon out of sea, you know. Yeah, it doesn't mean you're stranded. It doesn't give you an identity as a people because you have been stranded. Your identity remains African. You remain a black people. You remain melanin people. So we have separated ourselves from ourselves by creating these false identities and misconstruing adjectives for nouns. In the same way, brown. Brown is a color. Brown is an adjective. But you are working to the point where brown is now reflected like almost like a race of people. That people think that they belong to a brown race. We have to wake up out of those false illusions, you know. Those definitions are not practical. We are black people. We are melanin-based people. What is in the power of the melanin is that we have an extra nervous system. Yeah, an extra sensory perceptual system. They call it ESP, you know, but we ignore it. We think ESP is something airy-fairy. ESP simply means an extra sensory perceptual system. We have it. We have it in our skin. But it is dormant. It is almost dead because it's not connected. The wires are not connected because we don't know about it. The chemicals that we use are also killing it. Killing our identity, killing ourselves. So, the power lies within. The power lies within our own blackness. So the black people are not humans. So who then are the humans? I am saying that the Oriental man is what he is, Oriental. The Indian man is who he is, he's Indian. The African black people are who we are the melanin people. So it leaves the Europeans. Only then can we define Caucasians as humans. They would not disagree. male and female created them. And so the identity issue that we're searching to resolve is that this concept of a human being doesn't really apply to black people. Black people are not humans. We are of man. Man represents male and female. And so from that perspective now, we anticipate that perceptions of self may change. Because humans, for example, humans need police. Animals don't have police, you know. But humans have to have police. The animals don't need police. Something is wrong with humans. And human beings apparently have no mercy on other human beings. Because war and destruction and the making of money by the destroying of lives and property seem to be a practice of human beings. So it don't sound to me like something that we should glorify, something that we should embrace. We should begin to reject that whole notion of the human being. We don't come from no animals. We are not descendants of orangutans. Yeah, our cosmology doesn't take us into animal culture, nor animal behavior. Yeah, it's time for the transformation. It's time for the resurrection of the blackness, that we embrace self without any fear, without any hatred. Because as we talk about our blackness, it has nothing to do with the people who are non-black. Non-black people have been taking care of their own selves. They are keeping themselves away from the black people because they are afraid that they will brown out and melt away. So it's for I and I to take pride in self, recognize the importance of the identity, and that the whole biblical story now of Adam and Eve, yes, they really are the first two humans. Yes, Adam and Eve's story fits into the whole culture of jealousy and war and envy and all the negative things that are presently devastating human society. MetaMorphOsis. IMANBLAK.